La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, I love Muhammad Mustafa than the whole wide world. Making partners with Allah is the greatest sin. I shall never ever worship anybody but Him. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ikra Mariam. I'm studying in grade 6. I'm here to talk about oxygen cycle. This is a model. Oxygen cycle refers to the movement of oxygen throughout the atmosphere and biosphere of plants and animals and lithosphere the earth crust. Oxygen cycle begins with the process of photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, oxygen is released throughout the atmosphere, which is used by animals for breathing purposes. These living organisms take oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, which is again used by plants during photosynthesis to prepare their food. Cycle continues in nature, and this is called oxygen cycle. Oxygen cycle, along with carbon and nitrogen, is an essential biogeochemical cycle to maintain the concentration and the level of oxygen in the atmosphere. Jazakallah khair.
My model for today is types of pollution. First of all, what is pollution? Pollution is the contamination of the environment by harmful materials. There are mainly four types of pollution: air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, sound pollution. Air pollution refers to the release of harmful contaminants into the Earth's atmosphere. Chemicals, toxic gases, particulates, biological molecules, etc. into the Earth's atmosphere. Water pollution is said to occur when toxic pollutants or particulates matter has introduced into water bodies such as lakes, rivers, and seas. They are generally introduced by human activities like improper sewage systems and oil spills.
Soil pollution is also called soil contamination. Refers to the release of harmful contaminants and due to the degradation of land. Noise pollution
The amount of noise in the surrounding that disturbs the natural balance. Certain calamities like volcanoes can contribute to noise pollution. We need to protect our planet Earth from all the harmful things that cause pollution that we mentioned earlier. Jazakallah khair.
My model for today is about different types of energies. Do you know what is energy? Energy is defined as ability to do work or cause change. There are basically 10 types of energies: muscular energy, mechanical energy, heat energy, solar energy, wind energy, stored energy of water, chemical energy, bioenergy, electrical energy, fuel energy.
Makes when few of them. Solar energy. Sun is the main source of all energy on the earth. The energy we get from sun is called solar energy. These days we use this energy to cook food or to boil water. Stored energy of water. Flowing water is a source of this energy. In order to use water as a source of energy, a dam has to be built across a river and water must be stored in it. Stored water is allowed to flow and fall from a higher level on the turbines, and which help to generate electricity. Electrical energy. It is a moving energy. It is a movement of tiny particles called electrons and protons. Mechanical energy. Energy of an object by virtue of its position is called potential energy, and the energy due to its motion is called kinetic energy. The sum of potential energy and kinetic energy is called mechanical energy. Example: driving a nail into a board. Muscular energy. Activity like pushing, running, throwing, lifting, etc. need muscular energy. This energy is released by the chemical changes in our body. Heat energy. We do our daily work by getting heat from the energy like heater, microwave, stove, fireplace, iron. Wind energy. Wind is a source to generate this energy. Example: wind turbines move with the help of this energy. Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Today I am demonstrating an experiment to test presence of fats in food sample. I have taken cooking oil and ethanol and water. Firstly, I'll put cooking oil in the test tube. Now I'll put some ethanol in the test tube. Now we are going to shake the test tube. Now we are going to add some more water. Again we are going to shake the test tube. What do you observe? Well, we will observe a cloudy solution. As a conclusion, cooking oil contains fat. When the alcohol reacts with when the ethanol reacts with cooking oil, it becomes cloudy. Jazakallah.
Model for today is about food chain, and this is my model.
What is a food chain? A food chain explains its organisms eat another organisms in the environment. It also explains how the nutrients and energy is transferred from one organism to another. For example, grass is eaten by grasshoppers, grasshoppers are eaten by lizards, lizards are eaten by eagles, and eagles are eaten by fox. The organisms at the first level of a food chain is always a producer, such as grass. The next in the sequence is herbivores, for example, grasshoppers. They are also called as primary consumers. Now, the primary consumer is followed by a carnivore, which is called a secondary consumer, for example, lizard. And then comes the tertiary consumer, for example, eagle. Lastly, we have scavengers such as vultures and fox, who are also known as final consumers. This is all about food chain. Jazakallahu khair.
The model which you see here is a polytunnel or a greenhouse. A polytunnel is a steel frame tunnel covered with polythene used by gardeners and commercial growers for growing vegetables, fruits and flowers. You may also see polytunnel referred to as polyhouses or hoop houses. The polytunnels works in the same way as a greenhouse does. Polytunnel lets gardeners and commercial growers enjoy an extended growing season as things like humidity, ventilation and irrigation can be more easily controlled. The tunnels promote early growth by warming the air surrounding the plants using heat from the sun. The tunnels also protect plants from frost that can destroy or damage them. Overall, crop yields are obtained when plants come into earlier production and continue to bear throughout the season. Jazakallah.
My model for today is rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting is a type of water harvest in which the raindrops are collected and stored for the future use rather than allowing it to run off. Rainwater can be collected from houses' roof and redirected into a deep pit, well or storage. And once these tanks are full, the water is allowed to fall on the turbine. The falling water turns the blades of the turbine. It generates electricity. This is nothing but hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity is a conversion of mechanical energy from flowing water into electrical energy. Mechanical energy is the result of potential and kinetic energy. Hydropower is the result of potential and kinetic energy. Now let me explain you the advantages of rainwater harvesting. It reduces your water bill, decreases the demand for water and etc. Jazakallah. I am here to explain about water cycle. This is my model. First, let me explain you what is water cycle. The water cycle describes the continuous movement of the water on, above and below surface of the earth. During this process, water changes its state from one phase to the another, but the total number of water particles remains the same. Water changes through evaporation, melting, freezing, condensation and precipitation. At first, the water evaporates from the surface of the earth into the atmosphere. It cools and then condenses to form clouds. Once these clouds get heavy, they fall down on the surface of the earth in the form of rain by the process of precipitation. This cycle continues. Jazakallah khair. What is a ear? It is an organ that detects and analyzes sound. Located on each side of your head, they help with hearing and balance. The three main parts of the ear include the outer ear, middle ear, and the inner ear. Let's talk about our outer ear. The outer ear is the part of the ear that's visible. The outer part is also called a pinna. The outer ear contains rich cartilage of skin, and it has glands that secrete earwax. Its funnel-shaped canal leads to your eardrum. Now let's talk about our middle ear. Your middle ear begins on the other side of your eardrum. There are three tiny bones in this area: the malleus, incus, and stapes.
Now, moving on, they transfer sound vibration from your eardrum to your inner ear. Moving on to your inner ear. Your inner ear has two main parts, your cochlea and the semicircular canals. Your cochlea is the hearing organ. This snail-shaped structure has two fluid-filled chambers lined with tiny hair. When sound enters, and the tiny hair vibrate and the fluid causes the tiny hair to vibrate, sending electrical impulses to your brain. Jazakallah khair.
What are the two main functions of the ear? Your ears have two main functions, hearing and balance. Hearings. When sound waves enter your ear canal, your eardrum vibrates. This vibration then passes on to three tiny bones in your middle ear. These bones amplify and transmit this information to your inner ear. Once the sound waves reach your inner ear, tiny hair cells transform these sound waves into electrical energy and transfer it along vestibular nerve fiber to your brain. Balance. Your inner ear contains semicircular canals filled with fluid and hair-like sensors. When you move your head, the fluid inside lifts up canals, surfaces around and moves the hair. Finally, your hair sends this information to your brain. Brain the hair-like sensors send this information to vestibular nerve to your brain. Finally, your brain sends signals to your muscles to help you stay balanced. Thank you, Jazakallah khair.
Setting the experiment to test the presence of starch in food sample. I've taken boiled rice and iodine solution. Now we will smash the boiled rice. Now we will add a few drops of water. Now we will add a few drops of iodine solution.
Squeeze it first, then leave it inside.
As we can see, the food sample turned blue-black. As a conclusion, the given food sample contains starch. When iodine is added to starch, it turns blue-black in color. Jazakallah.
And this is my model.
Water is essential for survival of living organisms. Water we use comes from lakes, rivers and ground. Water sometimes carry impurities. These impurities can be removed from water by a process called water treatment. Before we can use this water domestically, it must be clean. This process generally has four main steps: coagulation, sedimentation, filtration and disinfection. The first step is coagulation. The first step is coagulation. Removes dirt, metals and other particles suspended in water. Chemicals like alum are added to water which form a sticky particle called phloem which attracts the dirt particles. Next comes sedimentation. The combined weight of the sediment and chemical become heavy and sink to the bottom. The process of particles settling to the bottom of a body of water is called sedimentation. My model for today is about the magnetic field. Do you know what is magnetic field? Any idea about it? Well, the magnetic field is the area around the magnet in which the effect of magnetism is felt. Now coming to the next point, what is magnetic energy? Energy created by the strength of magnetic field is called the magnetic energy. Do you know how many poles are there in a magnet? Well, there are two poles in a magnet, North Pole and South Pole.